Aloha and welcome. My name is Taylor Norris, and I'm a Galactic Astrology soul reader as well as a Reiki master teacher. And in today's video, we will be exploring the galactic portals of this beautiful new moon in Gemini on June 17th through the 18th. So, astrological enthusiasts among you all, I'm sure, have learned about this new moon from other astrologers or maybe your own astrological investigations. And so, you would have heard of some of the major aspects of this new moon. And I'm just briefly going to touch on these because many other astrologers have done in-depth videos on these, very beautifully articulating the energetics of these various dynamics, the planets, the aspects, the alignments. And this particular video is going to focus more on the galactic, but it doesn't feel quite right without at least grounding in the awareness, naming some of these major aspects that are taking place for us at this time. So this new moon in Gemini, you see that together represented by the sun and the moon at the very end degrees of Gemini on the right-hand side of the chart. Now, the chart is set for the time of the new moon in Hawaii. So you'll want to disregard the ascendant, descendant, midheaven, IC, and where the planets are in terms of the houses. It'll be different depending on where in the world you are at this moment. So sun and moon are together in Gemini, and the sign of Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury. And you see Mercury there below at 11 degrees and 52 minutes of Gemini. So this is very strong when the ruler of the new moon, that sign the new moon is in, the ruler of that sign is also in the same sign of its rulership. So this is very, very strong. And it's also got this harmonious component of the new moon ruler, Mercury, in a sextile alignment. This is a 60-degree aspect with the planet Venus, having to do with the divine feminine and our creative expression, particularly as she is in the sign of Leo. So we have this harmonious flow of gifts and blessings connecting our psycho-spiritual function of Mercury, our communications, our more lower mind, our thoughts, our day-to-day talks, our day-to-day interactions with others, friends, family, neighbors, early education, lower education, kind of those, again, those day-to-day mental thought processes in this fluid dynamic with Venus. So this could be very creative energies and communication supporting our creativity, communication supporting our sense of value, communication supporting our sense of love and balance and harmony in the context of our relationships and our own self-expression. This new moon in Gemini is also square to Neptune and Pisces. And this is interesting. This is interesting energy because the energy of a new moon is typically one of a new beginning. It's a time to plant a seed, in whatever area of life this new moon is taking place for you, depending on the house placement of this new moon in your astrological chart. And for those who don't know their charts, wherever you're tuning into this energy of new beginnings, you probably have it right. So go with that. However, with this square dynamic with Neptune, it's very interesting because there's this component of letting go. There's also this component of spiritualizing whatever this new moon intention is for you, ensuring that it's resonating at the frequency of divine love. And this may even be an energy of taking action on communicating, better communicating, because it's Gemini. It's a Gemini new moon, communicating, expressing, socially, even expressing this energy of divine love, this energy of spirituality, of surrender, of ultimate compassion and forgiveness. Perhaps it's planting a seed of forgiveness for yourself, maybe experiences you had in your early education, your early life with neighbors, with siblings. These kinds of topics may be coming up at this time. So if there's an energy of letting go present, as there typically is with any kind of new beginning, know that this is natural and healthy and will ultimately help whatever this new beginning really have this deeper Neptunian frequency of divine and unconditional love. So very, very beautiful. Then two other things I'll just mention briefly here is that we have two of our outer planets. Well, Saturn is a more social planet. It's got about a 29-year orbit around our sun. So much closer, but still it's a big energy that is stationing retrograde right around this new moon. So this new moon has this energy of Saturn, which is our structure, our sense of external authority before we wake up, and Saturn becomes our sense of inner authority and inner strength and grounding in our ability to know and express and embody and give form and structure to our inner truth with grace and ease and flow and a sense of respect, dignity, authenticity, and integrity. Saturn is stationing retrograde. So whereas the forward motion of Saturn has this more outward directed energy, this, okay, what kinds of structures am I, laying out in my life to express my inner authority and my inner truth? Saturn's energy is going more within. And so there might be a deeper sense of communion and opportunity to come into inner harmony and resonance with your inner authority, particularly as regards Pisces matters of spirituality, of divine love, of creativity, of forgiveness, letting go, surrender, grace, magic, the collective unconscious, dreams. This could be a very powerful time. Oh my goodness, y'all, to tune into your dreams, because with Saturn and Pisces stationing retrograde, and then this new moon also square to Neptune and Pisces, write down your dreams. You could be getting prophetic dreams at this time or other significant dreams that will inform your life in a ultimately practical way, since it is this Saturn energy and it can be more conscious with the new moon energy inviting us into that greater conscious awareness. So this is very powerful as well. And we also have the dwarf planet Sedna entering the sign of Gemini on June 16th, so just before this new moon. And I'm not sure if it's here or, elsewhere. I've been talking about Sedna lately, so maybe not on this channel, but I'll just mention briefly, Sedna is a very outer planet, where Saturn takes about 30 years, 28 to 30 years to make one orbit around the sun. Sedna's orbit around the sun is in the neighborhood of over 11,000 years. So we're talking very long orbit, long time, slow moving planet. And Saturn for a long time was what we consider the outermost limit of our solar system because it's what we could see. And then that limit expanded to Uranus and Neptune and then Pluto. And then Pluto wasn't even called a planet anymore. It was called a dwarf planet. And then we've discovered so much beyond the orbit of Pluto, all the way to Sedna. And Sedna kind of has become this new marker for an outermost limit to our solar system. But as my own research continues, I am learning that she's not even necessarily our outermost limit. But what's important here is that Sedna has been in the sign of Taurus since the 1960s. So a very, very, very long time here. And perhaps, the entirety of some of our lives on Earth, or most of our lifetime on Earth. And so we've really gotten to know her in this more Taurian fashion. And we're getting now this new Gemini expression of Sedna's energy. So this is something to pay attention to. You could feel some major shifts potentially starting around this June 16th. That's an opportunity to tune into what is Sedna, what is coming in and translating from the outermost reaches of our solar system, as Sedna's journey around the sun actually brings her much closer in her orbit to the sun. Then she goes way, way out because her orbit's very elliptical. I won't say much more about that because, like I said, I could spend this whole video talking about Sedna. So I will set the intention to come back and have a discussion about Sedna at a different time because I have been doing some research on her and she's coming up in my readings as well, as clients are really, people are opening up to these energies and what they mean for them personally and really opening to what they can show and reveal and activate within their more quantum and multi-dimensional sense of self and operating in life on Earth at this time. Okay, so now that we're in to the main topics here, what does the galactic have to say? So keeping in mind, just the more basic astrology and the aspects, okay, that's one level, that's one layer. Now the galactic charts are showing another level, another layer. And what I have here is a portion of, or most of, the galactic chart from Galactic Chart.com, where you're welcome to pull up a chart for free for your own birthday, others' birthdays, dates, and so on. And you can learn about the constellations and the alignments that you're experiencing for an event or for yourself or someone else. So that's available to you at any time. And that's what I've done here, is that I've pulled up what are the sun, moon, these other planets and points aligned to in terms of the constellation. This chart is showing the conjunct. So what the sun is, conjunct these energies of Orion, of Ursa Minor, and the sun and the moon are opposite these energies of the galactic and Draco. And I know the nuances based on the next set of charts I'll show you. The North Node and South Node are making either conjunct together or opposite 180 degrees apart alignments with Andromeda constellation and the galactic. We have Mercury, remember, the ruler of this new moon in Gemini, making alignments with the constellations Taurus, Scorpius, and the galactic. Some conjunct, some opposite. We'll get into that. Jupiter in Taurus is making strong alignments with the constellations Cassipea, as well as a galactic energy. Saturn in Pisces is making strong alignments with the constellations Draco and Cygnus. Neptune in Pisces is making significant alignments with multiple points of the galactic. So that's fascinating. And then Chiron in Aries is making a significant, strong alignment with the constellation of Cetus. And so I've depicted the map of the constellations below the chart so you can tune into that and kind of receive all of that. And also I have on the right-hand side of the screen, this is the constellation of Orion. And this one's really highlighted in terms of where is the sun, where is the moon. These are very strong alignments here, including the stars Betelgeuse, Safe, and Orion Nebula. So those are the most highlighted stars. And Orion Nebula is actually not a star, but it's a planetary nebula that is aligning with this new moon. And we'll get more into Orion in a bit. Okay, this is our next level of analysis and information here. So now we're looking at the stars. You see underneath me is that very same conjunct and opposite chart with, what are the 0-degree aspects, the 180-degree aspects regarding the constellations. And then I've pulled out what are the important alignments with, like, what stars are we talking about? So what stars in Ursa Minor are we talking about for the sun and the moon? Well, it happens to be Polaris, one of our pole stars. What stars are we talking about for North Node and South Node? Well, it is Merock star, an Andromeda constellation, and it's the Shapley Attractor in terms of that galactic energy. What stars are we talking about with Mercury? Well, we're talking about Aldebaran and Antares and the Great Attractor. So strong, so powerful. Jupiter aligned with Shadir and Cassipea. Opposite Shapley Attractor, okay. We're seeing Shapley again here. This is very strong because Jupiter is very close by to the North Node. Saturn is in a conjunct alignment with Deneb Adige and Cygnus, and opposite Draco Thuban. Neptune in Pisces, like I said, couple different galactic alignments. Opposite the supergalactic center. It's actually approaching that opposition, still a ways out. What's even stronger is the square to the galactic center, which I'm not going to go into too much. I'm trying to narrow down what we focus on to include mostly the conjunct and opposites and not so much the squares. But that's a great topic for another video. Chiron in Aries is in a conjunct alignment with Tau Ceti in Cetus constellation. So let's break this down even further because this is a lot of information. I just want to show you where's the information coming from. What are we looking at here? What is the process? Okay, so now really just tuning into the sun and the moon, 26 degrees, 43 minutes of the sign of Gemini in the Western zodiac. The degrees will be different for Vedic astrologers and sidereal astrologers and different astrologers. But what we're talking about, we're using the Western zodiac, the tropical zodiac for our purposes here. And so this is aligned to, like I said, Orion Nebula, Safe, and Betelgeuse. And I've got those stars highlighted in this beautiful Uranus mirror photograph, picture illustration of this constellation, Orion, the warrior, holding the Nemean lion, this token of, what the warrior has accomplished, showing the mystical powers and the protection there. He's very fierce, Orion. And so this is some of the energy we're working with your light warriors, light warriors on. Okay, and it's interesting because the stars, the particular alignments you see, it's that star Betelgeuse on the shoulder, it's this star Safe at the knee, and then it's not this, I marked it with a star, but it's not a star, it's the planetary nebula, Orion Nebula. So these are the Orion energies that are available to us at this time. And so I could really go off in many directions at this time because there's a lot of richness to Orion here. There's a lot of galactic stories richness. There's a lot of Earth stories richness. And so what I will share right now is that in terms of the Earth, we find so many temples, so many ancient civilizations were tuned into this connection with Orion. We see it in the pyramids in Egypt. We see it at various other ruins of ancient civilizations across our world. We see it again and again, particularly with the belt stars, okay? So Orion had such a significant presence in the consciousness of our ancestors on Earth, you could say, within, earlier versions of ourselves who were quite advanced, able to move these huge blocks of stone, able to do feats of construction that would take so much time and so much energy with a level of craftsmanship, skill, and attention to astronomical and astrological influences that, surpass any kind of mainstream understanding in terms of applying and integrating and really synergizing astronomy with our architecture, astro architecture. So very, very significant ancient lineage here. So what I'm suggesting here with the sun and the moon, you can really tune into these civilizations. You can tune into the ancient wisdom of Egypt, tuning into the ancient wisdom from Atlantis, from Lemuria, from these earlier times in human civilization. This can be very much, coming into the light of conscious awareness. There's a chance to really receive some of these memories, some of these codes, even be reminded of how your intention now that you're setting might be connected to intentions you've set as an earlier version of yourself in these ancient civilizations. Could also be a good time to connect with, ancestral memories and ancestral connections from these times. Now, galactically, also, this could be a major healing because Orion was, imagine, things are pretty bad on Earth, right? With polarity in terms of three-dimensional reality on Earth. And, depending on your level of consciousness on Earth, right? It's very, very polarized. It's very traumatized. It's, a lot of triggers, violence, war, people fighting, people still not understanding we need to stop killing each other. I mean, it's like pretty basic, like really, really basic stuff that like it's still, humanity has not made the collective choice to stop doing that. So, what we're experiencing on Earth at this time was experienced, in a very amplified degree galactically within Orion constellation in what we may perceive as, past timeline of linear time. So fortunately, they polarize so much, and the control and the mind games and the manipulation and the psychological warfare, all kinds of warfare got so bad and so polarized that eventually it got to this point of resistance where the poles got so far apart that they were eventually remagnetized and snapped back together so that fusion and magic and integration process could take place. And instead of being this polarized experience of like fear at its, most extreme, love at its most extreme, dark, light, etc., everything kind of came into center, and the Orions were able to really evolve and become enlightened and become integrated. So you could really be tapping into that timeline and those codes and those memories of how do I do that now? What kind of intention can support me? What kind of guides, versions of myself, future Orion, civilization self can I pull in and really rise into unification and resonance with, so that I can face the challenges in my own life with courage and contribute to the wellness of humanity and the earth at this time, particularly as regards our communication, our mental thought processes, all these domains of the Gemini energy. So that's a wonderful opportunity there as well. The sun and the moon are also in a opposite alignment with Draco constellation Edaman, and you see that at the top of the dragon here. Okay, Draco the dragon. So the dragons are with us, friends. The dragons are very much with us, and this is an energy to become friendly with, if you're guided to. They are very, very powerful, ancient beings of wisdom, of love, of powerful, deep earth magic, deep cosmic magic, profound magic, profound power, and really just phenomenal supports, whether that's the soul frequency you resonate with as like a part of you, or an energy you're connecting with as a guide, or you might be noticing in your field at this time, the dragon energy. So I would invite you to tune into that if that resonates. And the new moon is also in a conjunct alignment with Polaris in Ursa Minor constellation. And so that's the picture of the star that I have there. And so this is one of our pole stars. And again, we see this pole star, as well as some of the other pole stars, being in strategic alignments in various temples and pyramids and megaliths of ancient civilizations sprinkled across Earth. So this is very, very powerful. It's powerful for kind of taking a time capsule back into the time when Polaris was the exact North Star. How many cycles of creation that might have been, how many cycles of civilization that may have been. There's evidence that we've experienced many different pole shifts that would then be shifting what our pole stars are in a more dramatic way. I don't mean by just a few degrees, I mean by like 23 degrees, or very significant. So there's an opportunity really to tune into those memories and frequencies, as well as on a personal level, connecting you with what is my North Star? What is my guiding light? What is guiding me at this time? What is my authentic self, my higher self, my greater soul self? What messages are coming in from, the oversoul or the soul group consciousness that may even be present on Polaris, or have an aspect that's present around this pole star energy? So wonderful opportunity to really be tuning into very deep, profound inner guidance in terms of, this can be very clarifying energy, given that the new moon is square to Neptune. So where it may feel like, oh, I'm a little lost, I'm a little confused, I'm a bit in a fog, like don't really know where I'm going yet, there can be a sense of clarity and guidance coming in from Polaris. There can also be a greater sense of trust that even if that guidance is not yet fully conscious yet, you can trust that you are being guided, and more of the story and more of the guidance will be unfolding as the moon cycle progresses. You can just kind of be in this open space of listening and communication with what might want to be coming through in terms of that clarification and guidance. So that might be an interesting dynamic that you're noticing as well. And I couldn't help but also at least mention here the new moon is opposite the galactic center, and I've got some beautiful images from NASA here. Oh my goodness, can we just tune into those colors and what's going on? The lowest image is the radio image of the galactic center, so maybe not what you would imagine when you think black hole, like vacuum, void, just darkness, right? There's a lot of brightness there. And then the more colorful images, including radio and something else, I forget at this time, but it's like overlapping two ways of imaging, at least two ways of imaging the galactic center. And then I've also got these images of course, it's at the center of the Milky Way galaxy. That's the galaxy that we in the solar system are present in at this time, with this beautiful energy of the divine masculine and form and structure and our particular evolutionary trajectory that we're experiencing in the Milky Way. And so the new moon being opposite this energy is this time to feel and to know your connection to the source of this part of the universe, the center of the Milky Way galaxy. This is an invitation to get really, really, really centered in yourself, centered in the solar system, centered in the Milky Way galaxy, centered at the deepest, most core fundamental level of yourself as it is locally expressing. This is a time to really connect to source, connect to the divine, really feeling your direct connection to all that is, as a powerful manifester, as a powerful organizer, as a powerful creative being with access to all that is, all the knowledge, the wisdoms, the gifts, the talents, guidance, blessings, miracles, magic, insights, etc., your skills, your abilities, really pulling those in and remembering more about your soul origin, remembering more about your soul mastery as it wants to come through and be expressed in your life on earth at this time. So very, very powerfully supportive with the galactic center. So we see the North Node in Taurus is in a conjunct alignment with Andromeda constellation, the star called Meroc, and in another of Urania's mirror. Beautiful illustrations. We see that star Meroc in the fold of Andromeda's skirt there, her beautiful tunic dress. And so the north node of the moon and the south node of the moon are always exactly opposite each other. They are not, planets or luminaries like the sun, the moon, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn. These are points in space. These are calculations. These are based on where the moon is crossing the ecliptic, the Earth's orbital path around the sun. So they're always changing. They're always moving in retrograde motion pretty much all the time. Okay. And so the North Node is pointing us towards our collective destiny, pointing us towards our evolutionary and soul growth at this time. What is the archetypal energy we're needing to integrate at this time? Whereas the South Node is showing us what are we releasing, purging, letting go of, reforming, and renovating. What archetype are we letting go of the unhealthier and lower expressions of and elevating into more conscious, more harmonious, beautiful, evolved expressions of that archetypal energy? So the North Node conjunct Mirroc and Andromeda is really inviting us into this frequency of freedom, because you see Andromeda in the constellation, she's chained up. What happened was, in the mythology, her mother was bragging about how beautiful she was, and this upset the goddess Aphrodite of love and beauty. She became very jealous, and so the gods were all angry, and her parents, Andromeda's parents, who had been bragging, were like, uh-oh, we better do something. So we'll just go ahead and chain Andromeda to a rock so that we'll appease the gods that way. Okay. Oh, wow. It's a lot in the story so far, right? So Andromeda chained to a rock is, left to die essentially and be killed by the sea monster Cetus, which funny enough we'll get to in a bit, because there's a Chiron is aligned with Tau Ceti and Cetus. So she was left chained to a rock, but thankfully Perseus, the hero, came and saved her and was able to kill the monster Cetus, because he had just slain Medusa, another feminine archetype. Wow. And her head actually like turned Cetus the whale into stone. So when we see alignments to Andromeda constellation, we're really seeing this divine feminine liberation of the divine feminine energies. We're talking about freedom. We're talking about, liberating into our divine feminine fullness. What does that mean? We all have this feminine energy within us, and this is an opportunity to connect in with the divine feminine in the service of your own individual soul growth and evolution, as well as participate and contribute in the soul growth and evolution at a collective level. So very, very powerful here. And galactically, Andromeda constellation is kind of like has resonance with more of the Andromeda galaxy energies, which are very, very highly evolved energies that are really comfortable with the fluidity of consciousness and manifestation in a very moment by moment way. And so this can be kind of like training and preparation for how to navigate that with greater mastery as well. So we see exactly opposite that north node is the south node, and it's in a conjunct alignment with Shapley Attractor, and it is still quite close there. Okay. Now, Julia Balaz did a wonderful video with Pam Gregory talking more about how this energy is being expressed. But basically, what I'm seeing with this is that this is like a time to reclaim your multi-galactic self, because Shapley, here's a slide with it. Shapley is this, very, very powerful magnetic cosmic anomaly that we still don't even completely understand what it is. And so, just to illustrate this, we have the Earth orbiting around the sun in the solar system orbiting around the galactic center, which we talked about, the galactic center being the center of the Milky Way galaxy. The Milky Way galaxy, among 30 other some galaxies, all in an orbital organizational relationship around the super galactic center, this super massive black hole that makes the galactic center black hole look like it's, no big deal. So even larger galactic energy there, the super galactic center, all of those galaxies being part of Laniakea supercluster, that is one galactic supercluster that has been created from and being drawn towards this great attractor, a cosmic anomaly we were all invited to connect with. at the full moon in Sagittarius. And if you're wanting to do that from a more shamanic and Reiki perspective, I did upload a video, a guided experience, a journey to connect with the energy of the Great Attractor. So I invite you to experience the Great Attractor directly in that manner if you're interested in more of what that energy feels like. So Great Attractor is a big energy. And then even more powerful than that, stepping out even further, is Shapley Attractor, which is just this massive, mighty, incredible force and source of most of what we know to be the universe, the largest expanse of the universe that, you know, we've been able to study thus far has been generated by Shapley Attractor. And we're still astronomically, as far as I know, not exactly aware of what is Shapley. Is it, you know, a collection of supermassive black holes? Is it something else? You know, how does it work? But what we're seeing with this energy, what I'm tuning into for it, it's really, really showing us more about even more of our multidimensional self, more of these parallel soul incarnations and parts of ourself that we can integrate and receive greater guidance and assistance and mastery, just like true soul mastery. You know, like thinking about the problems we have on Earth and needing to upgrade our consciousness to a level above the consciousness that created the problems on Earth. I feel like Shapley is really really giving us that boost of like, okay, here is a consciousness, a level of consciousness that is so highly refined and evolved and powerful and magnetic and connected to source that the problems that we're perceiving and dealing with now don't even remotely stand a chance. Like that there's this opportunity to really be making this quantum jump in consciousness, in your own sense of what it means to be a human, in our own collective sense of what it means to come together and have this transformational human experience together on Earth. So Shapley is definitely very much available. And it's also available in a healing, releasing, and clearing capacity since it is that South Node. If there's something you're aware of, you need to be letting go of, you need to be releasing, you need to be upgrading. Shapley can be a wonderful support for that at this time, as well as an ability to, again, connect with what are your deepest soul and galactic gifts, talents, skills, and masteries, and inviting a greater integration of those into your conscious awareness at this time. So, ruler of the new moon, Mercury, is conjunct royal star Aldebaran, and you see it in the Taurus constellation with the pink star in the eye of the bull. And so Aldebaran is, I mean, complete manifestation power. Like, wow. Aldebaran, serious wealth, serious prosperity, serious protection as well. It's linked to Archangel Michael, and I've included here Stuart Pearce's beautiful angel heart sigil cards with the Archangel Michael cards, of course, including patience, I am presence, transmutation, and enchantment. And we see already this connection with the pyramids, and it looks like Thoth there as well, a unicorn, very, very high, refined energy of light warriorship too, in terms of Archangel Michael. So if there's protection, if there's guidance, if there's a greater sense of needing maybe even mental and thought protection and a clearing out of the mental body, Archangel Michael can very much help with that at this time and be present. Such a powerful energy to work with. So star Aldebaran is watcher of the east, element earth, blue ray. So you may experience the beautiful blue colors of the star Aldebaran. You may also experience Archangel Michael as it is in Stuart Pearce's deck as an amethyst orb, or infinitely many other ways of perceiving this energy. But what I'm really feeling is that this is immensely supportive for our manifestation at this time, our connection of really like aligning our thoughts to our highest creative potential, our highest kind of like third eye capacity, the eye of the bull, right? Like being able to see clearly and think clearly and organize and plan clearly and clear out the clutter of our minds so we can really focus powerfully on what it is we want to create and manifest in the world, in our individual lives, and as a collective also. And so Mercury is also opposite the royal star Antares on the back of the scorpion there, the heart of the scorpion in Scorpius constellation. So this is a portal energy. So they're always exactly opposite Aldebaran and Antares. And so when a planet or point is making contact with one of them, it's always opposing the other. So Antares is connected to Archangel Uriel, the Watcher of the West, element water, golden ray. And the star Antares is often considered a stargate energy. So, like, how many portals can we have with this new moon, friends? Like, there's no excuse. You are very much connected to so many different cosmic and galactic portals at this time. There's no shortage of them. It's basically which one is calling to you, which one is speaking to you. And I'm even curious about, the star Antares for a long time has been considered one of these cosmic and galactic portals. But the fact that it's so closely aligned to the Great Attractor as well makes me think maybe that's part of the reason why we've always experienced it as a galactic portal, is that it has this connection to the Great Attractor as well. I already talked a little bit about the Great Attractor, and like I said, there's a Reiki journey if you wish to connect more with the Great Attractor. But this energy is very much present and very much supporting our mental psycho-spiritual functions, our communicative psycho-spiritual functions, all the lower mind functions represented by Mercury. This portal is open and available to everybody. Okay. Beautiful planet Jupiter of expansion, growth, intuition, wisdom, blessings, fortune, and so on. Jupiter in Taurus is conjunct the Shadir star in Cassipea constellation. I've included the Urania's mirror graphic of what that looks like, and you see it's on her breast. Shadir is on the queen's breast. So this is such a beautifully nourishing and nurturing, and again, divine feminine energy. So I feel this like really connecting to your own sense of nourishment and nurturance and source, and being your own divine mother, being your own, highest expression of the divine feminine energy, allowing the good fortune and blessings coming through your divine feminine expression at this time, really expanding into the divine feminine energies, expanding into greater allowance and receptivity. This is a time to receive. This is a time to receive nourishment and nurturance, and know that each of us can, heal our relationship with the Divine Mother and connect directly in with the Divine Mother within ourselves, regardless of our gender, our sexual orientation, our relationship to our own earthly mother, our relationship with energy, any of that. We can all connect in with this frequency of Divine Mother energy, divine earth energy, and open ourselves to greater abundance and flow and ease and feeling supported and protected and really held in grace, held in such a soft and beautiful and gentle way as we consciously choose to evolve, expand, and grow in our consciousness. And again, this Jupiter is also opposite Shapley Attractor, so giving us another portal to incorporate the energies and the frequencies of Shapley, as that south node is inviting us to purge anything that may need to purge through Shapley. Jupiter opposite Shapley is that kind of nice opposing energy of what might we need to expand and use the more creative and generative frequencies of Shapley to manifest something practical and real here and now in our daily lives on Earth, because this Jupiter is in Taurus, the Earth. Let's stabilize it, let's ground it, let's make it practical right here and now. So Saturn in Pisces is making a couple different alignments I will touch upon here. Is conjunct Deneb Adige, one of the Bohemian stars, one of the very special Arab stars in the constellation of Cygnus, the swan, the flying swan. This is not a bird that was shot like Aquila, another flying bird in our sky, but this is a beautiful swan that was very much in flight, that was in pursuit and with wings spread, and very, very powerful, very, very beautiful. And I want to just mention from an earthly perspective, because it's Saturn and it is connected to our forms and structures and really grounding it. I was delighted to discover more about how this star Deneb Adige in the constellation Cygnus is actually worked with in ancient temples and ancient civilizations, including this temple complex in Palenque, Mexico, that I learned about recently, had this whole special star temple aligned with Cygnus. And so this is another invitation to connect in with this ancient wisdom, this ancient knowledge, these ancient memories within yourself, learning more about your own history and learning more about the history and mysteries of life on Earth before the floods, before the cataclysms, prior to, let's say, 11,000, 13,000 years ago. What was life like? What were we about? What did we know then that we're beginning to remember now? I think there's a strong resonance, this gateway, especially because Saturn is stationing direct here. We have a very powerful opportunity to connect in with these particular ancient memories connected to Cygnus. I mean, it was that important that the ancients built and aligned this temple and other temples specifically with these stars. Why? Why? This is a beautiful question to sit in and maybe receive some clues and hints and guidance about. Okay, Saturn is also directly opposite the star Thuban in constellation Draco. So we're seeing Draco again here, not at the ear part where the new moon is interacting with Edaman, but actually, further on in the dragon's body, Thuban Draco. And again, this was a very important star to the ancient civilizations. It was at winter solstice in 3100 BC in Palenque Temple. This was aligned. Draco Thuban was aligned. So in addition to having these profound alignments with Cygnus, there were also profound alignments to this Draco Thuban. So Draco Thuban was a pole star between 4000 and 1900 BC, and possibly could have been a pole star earlier on as well. And so the Egyptian pyramids were aligned to Draco Thuban. So it's really, really interesting. We have new moon conjunct Polaris, one of our pole stars that is a more current contemporary pole star. And we have Saturn aligning with this more ancient pole star, Draco Thuban, that was an active pole star during at least some periods in ancient Egypt. So multiple layers of resonance with this pole star energy, this North Star energy, this higher guidance energy and frequency. And again, just taking the basic archetypal energy of Draco, this is an opportunity to connect with the dragons if you feel called to do so. I personally work with the dragons and find them incredibly helpful and supportive, and very much an important part of my own soul origin, my own consciousness and soul expression at this time. There's nothing to fear. Okay, and I include this diagram here so y'all can see a little bit more how the temple, the Egyptian pyramid here, had specific alignments, the Queen's chamber and the King's chamber. I mean, it's like all of these stars that we have significant alignments. We don't have a significant alignment with Sirius in terms of what I looked at today, but we have the stars of Orion being very significant, aligned with the King's chamber and the pyramid at Giza. And then we also have Draco Thuban with the King's chamber in a specific alignment in the pyramid at Giza. And we also see Ursa Minor, Polaris, having significant alignments with the Queen's chamber. So very, very, very profound opportunities to connect with ancient Egypt at this new moon. And so getting into Neptune moving into an opposition with the supergalactic center. I will just mention it now because it's not terribly tight just yet. And it's something we'll be feeling into in the years to come as Neptune in Pisces finishes up in Pisces and actually enters the sign of Aries beginning in 2025. What we are feeling also is that Neptune is squaring the galactic center. It's also squaring this new moon. So there is even greater galactic resonance going on in terms of these supermassive black holes, and you may feel some of that. You may feel some of this ancestral healing, because that's really what this supergalactic center is supporting. It's supporting ancestral healing and ancestral gifts from these ancient times as ourselves, as Egyptian ancestors, as these ancestors across ancient civilizations on Earth, our galactic ancestries as well. So really, really powerful, supportive energies here. Multiple different cosmic engines of creation, because I'm learning that's more and more what black holes are. They're not so much just these vacuums, these monsters, these, siphoning energies. They are organizing principles. They are organizers of galaxies. They are organizers of constellations. They're organizers of star systems and galactic systems. They are generators of what we perceive to be, the universe at this time. And they're very, very primordial too. So pretty much, I think I covered all the different ones that we talk about. There's many, many more of these in our universe, but these four major ones are really aligned, and Neptune is certainly giving us yet another portal and opportunity to connect with the supergalactic center and the galactic center for our highest good and evolution. Lastly, I will mention that Chiron in Aries is in a conjunct alignment with Cetus constellation, Tau Ceti. And this is powerful. So I already mentioned Cetus the whale, Cetus the sea monster, as it was envisioned in Greek and Roman mythology, was involved in the story of Andromeda, who we talked about. Andromeda constellation is aligned with the North Node. And so all of these characters being very much interrelated and highlighted at this time. And what we find is this archetypal sea monster energy goes back beyond Greco-Roman mythology, because that's really what all the different mythologies do, is they go, you can see the same themes being repeated, the same archetypes being repeated across civilizations if you go back far enough. So we see this in the mythologies, even more ancient mythologies, in the Tigris and Euphrates valleys. We see these in ancient Babylon, ancient Mesopotamia, older civilizations, these stories coming through the archetypal energies of Marduk and Tiamat. We see Cetus, like this particular energetic, depicted in the Dendera zodiac, this ancient zodiac that was found in ancient Mesopotamian ruins. So we have more ancient codes available to us, and the galactic stories of Cetus are very, very vast as well, and very powerful as well. So again, we're having this divine masculine, divine feminine opportunity to tune in and perhaps confront our own inner monsters with this Cetus the whale. What are we afraid of? And is it really anything to be afraid of? Or is it rather what we're afraid of more than anything else is our own power? And, I'm seeing this as an opportunity to really let go of distortion around what our own power is. And I'm noticing as I look at the chart here that Chiron is actually trine Black Moon Lilith and trine Mars at this time too. So yes, to express the healthy divine masculine energy, to be healthfully expressing divine feminine energy, dark feminine energy, and to really tap into our own power as earth beings and as a galactic being, as galactic citizens, galactic sovereigns, and allowing all of those parts to merge and integrate for us so that we can move beyond these polarities of masculine, feminine, fear, and love into a more integrated expression of our innate wholeness and completion as beings of creation. Okay, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much, Soul Family, for your presence, your likes, your shares, your comments, your subscribes. Please leave your feedback below, and I invite all of you to the free new moon distant Reiki share I am hosting for this new moon in Gemini. So if you're like, all of that just went over my head, or I want to really connect more with that, well, that's exactly what I do in these Reiki shares, where we call in, we invite in Reiki energy to connect directly with these energies. So it's not so much a mental understanding or intellectual understanding, but it's a very energetic, profound, deeply healing, empowering way to connect with all these energies I just talked about for your highest good at this time. So the link to sign up for that will be in the description, as well as links if you're interested in a Galactic Astrology soul reading, where I do this for you. I go over all of this for you, what it means in terms of your charts, in terms of your soul origin, answering these questions, asking these questions for you. You're welcome to check out my website for those readings, as well as Reiki sessions I offer and Reiki classes online. Lots of things on the horizon that I'm excited about, and I'm just so happy and grateful you're here and to connect more with you, my soul family. Aho, amen, namaste, and so it is. Mahalo.